what is the latest on Luna?
The latest on Luna is that apparently the Luna 2.0 update, or not update, resurrection, I guess. They're just going to start all over. And it's going to apparently happen tomorrow. For people who might not be read in entirely on this story, if you have been living under a rock, the Terra USD stablecoin collapsed to zero about 2 weeks ago, and this is Terraform Labs, Do Kwon, and Luna Foundation Guard's attempt to, I don't know what, but something resembling a recovery from that total. Jen, I saw your hand.
I just have a question before we get into all of this. I think this ecosystem has lost a ton of trust. And I'm curious, David, have we ever seen a successful resurrection? Has this been done before? Have we seen something be completely wrecked, tons of people lose their life savings, and they've been able to successfully come back from the dead?
I mean, that's a really good question. I can't think of any. Zach, is that something you can think of?
I guess, I don't know. Is Ethereum and Ethereum Classic an applicable example from the annals of crypto history, right? Following the DAO hack?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No. So I guess that would be something to consider as sort of a template for what this may look like. And indeed, Ethereum Classic kind of did not capture the attention that Ethereum did later on, but it's a bit different. I would say it's a bit different. Whether or not
it's a bit different. It's like if the DAO was the entire network.
Yep.
And you know, the other question that's important to ask here is not so much has this been done before, but is there a reason it'll work this time? And you know, I think that there's a lot of reason to be skeptical because the major change that is taking place for this new version is they're getting rid of the UST stablecoin, whose mechanism was what broke the original chain. However, the stablecoin was also the primary reason the chain existed. So now you're launching this thing that just has all of the dApps and you know, some of the functionality, but not the core functionality of the original version. So there's reason to question whether this is going to really take off. And then based on that, you have to wonder a little bit whether people are going to use this as a way to, again, rip off retail traders, because there might be people who certainly buy into this new narrative. There's a lot of people who want to place their faith in Do Kwon and who, even short of that, just want to get their money back. And so they're going to hope that this works, and maybe they'll even put new US dollars or hard currency into the system, and that will be an opportunity for potentially, at least in the eyes of some skeptics, for insiders to sell. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens here, but I am not optimistic.
Yeah, it said in the story that so holders of Luna and UST can now receive new Luna tokens, but there's a pretty aggressive vesting schedule here. I think it's a 4-year vesting period. So people who are still holding this token can get new Luna tokens, but you kind of have to wait to see that value for 4 years. And I worry about people who put their life savings into this thing, right? Maybe they don't understand how vesting works, and now they're going to now put their faith and trust to try and recoup some of that money back into this new system. And so I read the story and I felt worried.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel, Zach?
Yeah, it's going to be a wild one. I don't know if it's going to work, but you know, there are a number of dApps and projects that exist on Terra that, again, have nothing to do with UST. You know, it has like sort of all the green shoots of an emerging blockchain, right? You know, there's an NFT marketplace, there's a staking protocol, there's blah, 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 blah. Some of those are going to be supported at launch on the new chain, and whether or not they can come back and rebuild a vibrant community after sort of the scorched earth that happened a couple weeks ago on the original Terra. If they can come back and build a vibrant community that isn't predicated on the Ponzi-nomics of UST and Anchor and all that stuff, that's going to be a really big story. So I think it's going to be worth watching. If it's going to work, I don't know, especially in this market. it's quite difficult, right? It's going to be quite difficult to capture that excitement and that energy so that builders come here and do it here instead of all these other blockchains. We had this great piece by Tracy Wong yesterday. She's looking at sort of these other networks that are saying, hey, Terra developers, we have some money. Come build over here. Forget that stuff. Forget Terra 2.0. We want you to build on Polygon. We want you to build on Cadena. We want you to build here, here, here. And that, I think, is going to be probably more important than this airdrop and this launch. Certainly, everybody in the crypto space loves an airdrop. Free money stories, they play well on the website. We see it in our traffic metrics. But whether or not people are going to sustain that momentum and that energy and that attention to build a vibrant set of services on this new restarted network, that's the open question. It's going to be a long time to see if it all plays out. But I'll throw it to David for
and if I could just make one last comment related to what you just said. I mean, this is an opportunity to reflect on the fact that community, in the sense that can actually build something to have value, is kind of inversely related to the expectation of profit among holders. The idea that most people, I think it's probably fair to say that most people who had a stake in Luna were primarily interested in the 20% returns on Anchor or the rising value of the Luna token. I mean, I have been looking at this stuff. There's just not a lot of like real novelty in terms of the actual applications that are being developed. And I just don't think that that community element is going to be there now that, among other things, there's not going to be any more capital flowing in, or at least not very much relative to how it was before, right? Like we had Jump and other people backing this thing to the tune of billions of dollars, and that's probably not going to happen anymore. And so a lot of that price-driven quote unquote community is just going to be gone, and they weren't really there to build in the first place. So I think as we enter a bear market, this is a really good example of, you know, how you build for a long term, both technologically and in terms of a community, because you want people to stick around when there's no profit, basically.
Going to be one to watch. Let's see if it can get back to its roots. Remember the Chai payments wallet way back when?